How you feeling?
Oh, fine. Just brought off the lining of my stomach up. Apart from that, I've never felt better.
You'll be okay when you get in there. Look, Deirdre, there's nothing to be afraid of. You're innocent. And it'll all be over today.
I take it there's a vacancy at the garage after yesterday. I've got Samantha staying with me.
Well, I can't work for him anymore, can I? The sooner I'm out of here, the better.
You're not moving as well, are you?
There's nothing to keep me here.
What about Samantha?
What about her?
Well, does she know?
Not yet. It's none of her business, really. Or yours.
Dr. Taylor, you're a graphologist who's looked at the forged signatures in this case. Perhaps you could tell the court your findings.
Yes, there are two kinds of forgery here. The one John Lindsay made on the mortgage application was done freehand, and the one on the credit card application was done with tracing paper.
And what's the difference?
Well, with a freehand forgery, we can tell the forger's identity. When it's traced, his personal idiosyncrasies are ironed out. We can tell it's a forgery, but not who did it.
So there's no way of telling who did the one on the credit card?
That's right.
It could have been either Jonathan Lindsay or Deirdre Rashid.
It could have been anyone.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honour.
Mr. Hamilton.
Dr. Taylor, was the forgery on the mortgage application a good one?
Extremely.
So, John Lindsay is a skillful forger?
Of that signature, yes.
And the one on the credit card application, was that good?
That was also very good.
Would it need someone with John Lindsay's skill to do it?
That level of skill, yes.
Thank you.
Hello, Sam. It's me. Yeah, listen, I've just seen Chris. He's packed his job in and he's leaving. So if you want him, I suggest you get in there quick. Yeah, well, don't worry. I'll cover for you here, OK? Good luck. Bye.
Mrs. Rashid, did you at any time in your relationship with John Lindsay know he was married?
No. He told me he was divorced. As soon as I found out, I left him.
How often did he stay with you during your relationship?
He was away half the time. He told me he was flying. He was with his wife and kids.
And you had no reason to disbelieve him?
I never doubted him, till I found out he worked in a shop.
Some people will say you should have left him then.
And they'd have been right. Only he told me another good lie, so I stayed with him. I loved him too much.
Whose idea was it to move into Ian Jenkins' house?
His.
He says it was yours. You wanted to impress your friends.
If that were true, then I'd have hung on to my own flat in case it all went wrong. I had to crawl back to the chap I'd given it to and ask for it back. I was totally humiliated.
Indeed. Well, then you bought a house together. Who arranged the mortgage?
He did.
Had you any idea he was doing this fraudulently through Ian Jenkins' account?
None whatsoever.
Did you at any stage put pressure on him to arrange this mortgage?
On the contrary, I asked him several times if he could afford it. He assured me he could.
And the credit card in your name, who arranged that?
He did. I knew nothing about it till he gave it to me.
Did you know it had been obtained fraudulently?
Not until the police told me, no.
The £4,000 you drew on that card in January, why did you do that?
I found out he was married. I wanted me 5,000 deposit on the house back. So I started drawing it on the card, 500 a day, till the machine swallowed it.
So what did you do then?
Well, I went to the bank to ask why.
You weren't afraid they'd apprehend you?
I would have been if I'd done something wrong. I'd have run a mile, just like he did.
What did you do when you discovered the card was on Ian Jenkins' account?
I offered to pay it all back. I couldn't believe it. I still can't.
Did you see John Lindsay again after he absconded?
Yes. He turned up and apologised for everything that had happened. He told me his wife had threatened to kill herself if he left her. And then he asked me to go to Venezuela with him.
And what did you do then?
Well, I rang the police. I was terrified. That's how they caught him.
Who would you say made the running in this relationship?
He did. From start to finish. He asked me out, he asked me to live with him, he asked me to marry him. He even arranged the wedding day without consulting me.
The Crown contends you were the creative intelligence behind this fraud.
If I was intelligent, do you think I'd be here now? I'm going to spend the rest of my life asking myself how I could have been so stupid.
Here you are.
Hi.
Natalie says you're leaving.
Yeah, I was going to tell you.
Right then. If you're going, I'm coming with you.
I thought this was all just a bit of fun.
It was to begin with, but it's more than that now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I suppose it is.
When are you going?
Tonight. Look, I'm only going to West Brom. It's nowhere special.
It doesn't matter. I want to be with you.
OK, well, look, I've got a lot of things to do before I go, so why don't we meet in the Rovers tonight and we'll go from there.
OK. What time?
7.
See you then.
Do you often frequent singles bars, Mrs. Rashid?
No, I do not.
You say he was in his uniform when he first asked you out.
Yes.
That wasn't the first time you've met him, though, was it?
Well, no, it was the second.
See, if we're not sure you're telling the truth in these matters, how can we trust the rest of what you say? Especially when it depends on our believing that you fell for the most extraordinary lies. On the day you move into his house, his ex-wife just happens to have changed the locks and left a note of explanation on the door.
Well, I agree. It seems
There
fishy.
was no such note, was there? John Lindsay refused to let you move into what you knew was Ian Jenkins's house. You invented the note to save face with your friend.
That is not true.
Then just 2 weeks after you learn he's been lying about his new job, lo and behold, he's promoted as sales director. And coincidence of coincidences, he has to spend the same amount of time away from home as he did before. Did this not strike you as rather odd?
I'm not denying I've been stupid.
And are we really expected to believe you thought he could afford that size of mortgage?
He said he'd been promoted.
All the stranger, then. If he could afford it, he couldn't put his hands on a measly $5,000 for a deposit.
He said it was all tied up.
But not to worry. Surprise, surprise, you could find it. This was insurance money you had, I believe, after your third husband died in mysterious circumstances 18 months ago. Or have I got that wrong?
No.
I put it to you, Mrs. Rashid, you were the prime mover in these deceptions, and it was you who lied so you could go on with them. You took advantage of a weak and impressionable man who was besotted with you for your own material gain.
This is absolute rubbish.
So you'd have us believe you fell time and again for this litany of lies. A sales director who works in Aberdeen on Christmas morning and Portsmouth on Christmas night?
I agree, it looks ridiculous.
Beyond belief would be how I'd put it. Nobody of your considerable experience could be that gullible. The only version of this story that adds up is his.
I still can't believe it. She'd hardly let a man near her. And him, Mr. High Principles himself.
Perhaps he did it to get back at me. He always thought I came between you two when you lived here.
Nah, he won't bear grudges like that.
You know, I used to laugh at men when women played around behind their backs, especially when they did it with me. Must be payback time.
Tip of the iceberg, this, if it is.
I hope it was him. At least it means it wasn't her.
Well, she's a mess. The only reason she's vaguely normal is because she met you.
She's come out of her shell since then, though, that's for sure.
No, but maybe you unlocked something.
Maybe.
Mrs. Rashid, you keep telling us how stupid you've been. The truth is, you've been very shrewd. You got John Lindsay to impersonate a pilot, and you got him to apply for the mortgage in Ian Jenkins's name.
None of this is true.
Then, having secured the house, you made him sign it over into your name.
He gave me that house. It was a total surprise.
He gave you the house that he was paying for, just like that.
He wanted to make me happy.
I don't doubt that. Then, encouraged by your success, you apply for a credit card on Ian Jenkins' account. You do the forgery yourself this time.
I knew nothing about that card until he gave it to me.
The only blot on the landscape now is his wife. You insist he leaves her and marries you.
He'd already proposed to me by that time.
He refuses, so you turn nasty. You threaten to tell his wife.
He's made all this up.
Then when he does break the affair off, you go round to his house and tell his wife. You return later and terrify them both with threats. Is it any wonder they fled the country?
This is pure invention.
Why didn't you go to the police when you found out he was married?
I wish I had done now. I didn't see the point.
To report an intended bigamy. You must have hated him by now if your story's true. You didn't go because you were milking Ian Jenkins' account for all it was worth, in case John Lindsay went to the police to blow the gaff.
Well, why did I go to the bank when they took my card then?
Because you thought you'd get away with it, like you had been doing. That's when you overreached yourself. The house of cards collapses. Mrs. Rashid, if John Lindsay is the author of this crime, tell me, what did he get out of it, financially?
Well, that's not why he did it. He's a fantasist. He wanted to impress me.
Please answer the question. What did he get out of it?
Well, nothing.
Exactly.
But
The house was yours, and so was the credit card. He didn't make a penny. Would any criminal in his right mind risk his neck like that for nothing? I've never heard of one.
Mr. Seymour, you're a car salesman.
Yes.
Have you ever had dealings with John Lindsay?
Yes, he borrowed a new Saab 9.5 for a test drive last November sometime.
Did he tell you what his job was?
He said he was an airline pilot.
Did you believe him?
Yeah. Well, he seemed to know all about it. Told me which airports he liked, favourite planes.
Were you surprised to find this man had never flown a plane in his life?
I was astonished. He was very plausible.
Did he buy the car?
No, he said he wanted something more powerful. He was going for a Porsche instead.
Thank you.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I did.
And?
Oh, decided to come in then, have you?
Sorry I'm late, V.
Men trouble. Do you know, if I went AWOL every time I had a row with our Jack, I'd never be here. I'd be out on the streets with the bad ladies. Just put your ideas up, eh?
Is he leaving?
Yeah, he is.
Well, what are you going to do?
Not much I can do, is there? I'll just have to live with it.
Mrs. Bishop, how long have you known Deirdre Rashid?
25 years.
Perhaps you tell the court your opinion of her.
I'd be delighted. She's honest, reliable, hard-working. She was a good mother to her daughter, Tracy, my goddaughter. I've always had the highest regard for her.
When she told you that she'd fallen for an airline pilot, did you have any reason to doubt her?
None whatsoever.
I believe John Lindsay once told you about the ear imbalance he claimed had lost him his job.
Yes, he did.
Perhaps you could explain what the problem was.
But no, I'm afraid I can't. It was far too technical.
It was convincing.
Everything about him was convincing. I can quite see how Deirdre was taken in.
Thank you.
Mrs. Bishop, I believe you were involved in a recent protest on common land known as the Red Wreck.
Yes.
You climbed a tree to stop contractors getting on with their legally approved work.
Yes.
How do you square this with your reputation for being an upright, law-abiding citizen?
I climbed that tree for something I believed in, regardless of the consequences. I'm here today for the same reason. If Deirdre's guilty of these preposterous allegations, then I'm a banana.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah, great. And all thanks to that wonderful husband of yours.
Oh, no, he didn't.
You knew as well.
I'm sorry, Des.
Yeah, me and also.
Well, I won't ask what all that were about.
Only Kevin had been as tactful.
So, in brief, ladies and gentlemen, a serious fraud has been committed.
which the two defendants, both people of previous good character, each accuses the other of lying. Each claims to have been beguiled by the other against their better judgment. Jonathan Lindsay pleads guilty to procuring a mortgage by fraud, and this is to his credit. But remember, he has participated in these events. Treat any evidence he gave with great care, and do not let his plea of guilty influence your verdicts against Deirdre Rashid. To her credit, she agreed to testify, which she was not legally obliged to do. Sadly, much of the evidence is inconclusive. Who are we to believe? Jonathan Lindsay, we know, is an accomplished deceiver. Deirdre Rashid accuses him of planning and executing the whole thing without her knowledge. Yet we only have her word for this. And as we have seen, Kenneth Barlow said under oath that she lied and got him to lie for her. Perhaps the key question is this: who benefited from the enterprise? Jonathan Lindsay got nothing, and it's a poor criminal who risks imprisonment for no reward of any kind. Deirdre Rashid was the sole beneficiary. Yet she has denied, under oath, knowing anything about it, claiming John Lindsay did it all to impress her. This is a difficult case, and a serious one. These crimes carry weighty punishments, and the consequences for Deirdre Rashid, if found guilty, could be grave.
What's up?
You told Des, didn't you? About Chris and Samantha.
What if I did?
You stupid!
Oh, what's it to you?
What's it to you? It was none of our business.
Des is a mate of mine. I owe it to him, and I expect him to do the same for me.
You've never been his mate.
Yes, I have.
You told him because you can't forgive Chris for sleeping with me.
Yeah, well, you would say that, wouldn't you?
It's the truth.
Why do you care what I've done? Because you still love him, don't you? That's why.
Give it a rest, Kevin. I was never in love with him.
No, sure.
I'll tell you why I care. Because it reminds me what a petty, narrow-minded little prat I'm married to.
Oh, well, if you think that, why did you have me back in the first place?
Can I tell you? I'm beginning to wonder.
That's right. Run, because you've plenty to hide.
I don't need this.
You don't need it.
You threaten me, I'll go straight to the police.
Oh, don't worry. You're not the one I'd like to kill.
My husband has done nothing wrong except what you forced him into.
Don't give me that. Are you saying you never suspected him? You know he's lying, don't you? Only you can't admit it, because your marriage would fall to pieces and your kids would see their dad go to jail.
No.
No. You'd rather see me put away, wouldn't you? An innocent woman. Do you want that on your conscience for the rest of your life?
Oh, stop it.
It's you who could stop it, Linda. There's still time.
John's right. You're mad.
I didn't expect to see you.
Are you okay?
Just had a row with Kevin about him telling Des. I did try and warn you.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't excuse Kevin, though, does it?
Well, look, that's all water under the bridge now. I've come to say goodbye.
You're leaving?
I've got nothing to keep me here now.
Where are you going to go?
Just back to West Brom.
With Samantha?
It looks like that.
You don't sound so keen.
I'd rather it be you.
Chris, don't start all that again.
I mean, it's You could come back with me tonight.
Here. She will be okay, won't she?
You can never say in cases like this.
The judge was very even in his summing up.
Well, they have to be, don't they?
Well, a judge can direct the jury any way he likes. In this case, it seems he hasn't decided one way or another.
You know how we'd like to get out of this place. They give me the willies after a bit. Courts. Don't you?
Well, not really, Les, but then, of course, I dare say I haven't got the experience of them you have.
Well, don't worry, Alec. When that dead escort case comes up for trial, it should even things up.
Oh, well done.
You were very brave.
I wasn't very good, though, was I?
You were fantastic, love it. Honestly, they can twist things how they like. Anybody can see you're innocent.
You didn't always think that, though, did you, Audrey?
I know better now, though.
And best supporting actress to Emily, I think.
It wasn't an act, I can assure you, Mr. Gilroy.
Absolutely.
The jury's back.
You'll never be happy with him, you know.
It's not just about my happiness, though, is it?
You gotta stop using the girls as an excuse. You're denying yourself. You gotta stretch out and do what you want to do.
It's not as simple as that, Chris, and you know it.
But you'll waste away being with him. Tell the girls in 20 years' time the reason why you stayed with him was because of them. And you know what they're gonna say? They're gonna say you should have gone.
Well, they'll say that then. They wouldn't say that now. They need their father.
And what do you need?
I told you, it's not about that.
And what if he starts playing around and goes off? They won't have a father then.
Well, he wouldn't.
Well, he's done it before. And the way things are going with you two, I mean, you're going to be divorced anyway. The only thing is I'm not going to be here.
Chris, I don't know.
You want to be with me, Sally? Look at me. Admit it.
Got me flaming butties. What's going on? Sally?
Would the foreman please stand? Mr. Foreman, please answer my first question, yes or no. Have the jury reached verdicts on all the counts on the indictment to which they are all agreed?
Yes, we have.